before I get rolling here, does everybody have a pen and paper? One of the things you have to do at an event like this, and I might need translation here, but in the U.S. we call it playing full out. Does anybody know what that means?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, Karen? Playing full out.
Being present in the event.
Yes, fully present. And that means at the meals, on the bus, in the hallway, where you're at, we don't play halfway. If we're wearing a white uniform today, out on the pitch, is that what you call it here, a pitch?
Yeah.
The playing field. You're going to come home with grass stains today. All right? We're going to come home with grass stains today. And maybe a little mud if it starts to rain. All right? We play football in any weather, right? Okay, so does everybody have a pen and paper?
Yes.
I'm going to talk a little bit about vision and why people do this business and why are you here. Because I have a feeling you have a pretty good idea why, but I also have a feeling you haven't got to the core of that. And if you have got to the core of that, you can get deeper. Because the reason you're here has to be unshakable. Because let me tell you, in my 17 years in this business, if I see nothing else, I see things that will shake you and make you want to stop. Because you don't have a boss here, right? That's great. We don't have a boss. No one's telling us what to do. The flip side of that is we don't have a boss. No one's telling us what to do. So that day, when it's easy out, it's easy out. This is I think David told me, and I still stick this in my head, this is an easy in, easy out business. It's not for the weak. But you're not weak or you wouldn't be here. Okay, I'm going to write something on the board. But while I do that, I want heads down on your paper, and I want you to list 3, 4, maybe 5, maybe 10 traits or attributes or qualities of someone you admire as a leader. They could be in this room, maybe they're not in this room. Maybe they're a leader out in another industry, or a leader in network marketing, or a leader with LifeForce. But I would like you to write down 3, 5, as many as you'd like, traits or attributes of someone you look up to or admire, like what they're up to as a leader. I see heads down. That's great. Thank you. Does anybody have one, just one on your list you'd like to share?
Being a storyteller, inspiring.
Inspiring.
Then through story,
Inspiring through stories. The great thing about stories, if you underestimate the power of a story, let's change that right now. Because expertise comes from experience, and experience comes from stories. What happens in your life? Stories create great empathy, and if you were here yesterday, you know the number one force in marketing is empathy, right? It's empathy. I know where you've been, I've walked in your shoes, and I can help you get what you want. Okay, so that's great. Good storytelling, inspiring. How about another trait?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Knowledge. How about another one?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Wisdom is the application of knowledge, is that right? Have you heard that before? Or is knowledge the application of wisdom? The other way around. Thank you, Krista. How about you, Krista? What do you have on your list? Give me one.
Courage.
Courage. I love courage.
Being an advocate for those.
Being an advocate. Great. Francesca?
Kindness.
Kindness. Kindness is another, I put that under the umbrella of empathy. It's tough to be empathetic if you can't be kind to people.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Couple more. Vera.
Humility.
Humility. Being humble.
A strong vision.
A strong vision. Perfect. That leads right into what we're talking about. I should stop right there. One more, Leo.
Integrity.
Integrity. Integrity. My definition of integrity is what you do when no one's looking. You can write that down. You can use it as your own. Just quote yourself. What you do when no one's looking. Okay, I'm going to take you back. One more.
Tenacity.
Tenacity. I like that. Tenacious. We're going to come back to those traits. So keep that piece of paper in front of you. If something inspires you today, I'm going to go through at the end of my talk some things that I've seen with leaders and their vision, particularly the traits of their vision. But right now, we'll come back to what I had you write down. So if something inspires you or you want to take notes, great. But keep that piece of paper because we will come back to it. I want to take you back to 1992. The year 1992 was the first year I could vote in an election in the United States. And there were several candidates running, 3 mainly. But one of them was an independent. And as you probably know, there are 2 main political parties in the United States, both as evil as the other one. But there was this independent, and he was a businessman. He was I believe, a billionaire, and his name was H. Ross Perot. And I saw him give a speech, and I don't really remember much what he said except for one quote. He said, "When I'm building a team, I look for people who love to win. And if I can't find any of those, I look for people who hate to lose." And I can still feel the hair stand up on my arms when it hit me. I am not afraid to say I don't love to win. I hate to lose. And that's led me over my 17 years to see that most people, when they really get something done, they're not driven by love. Stick with me on this. They're driven by an enemy, something to fight. Even hatred, I believe, pushes people more than love. Let me give you an example. How many people in here love cancer? We all hate cancer, right? How many people in here love poverty? We'd love to eradicate poverty. So you see, hate doesn't mean hatred of people or an evil thing. It can be a very powerful force. And I learned that it was really nice to say I wanted to do things for my kids. But I got it done when I said, I hate when my kids feel this way and I never want that to happen again. Now I take action. But maybe for you, you love to win and love drives you more than hate. What I want to get at is your why, your vision. Leaders always have an unshakable faith and vision. And the leaders I've worked with in this industry, both in Lifeforce and in other companies, they were unshakable when it came to what they were going after and helping people get that. So what drives you? Will you write that down? What drives you? And replace you with me. What drives me? What is the real reason you're doing this? I don't want to hear I want to go Crown Diamond. That might be really what you're going after, but I want deep. I want you to ask yourself the right questions. Why are you doing this? I want you to get down to the nitty-gritty. Something you're ready to fight for. Because if it wasn't for all of you, David said, you guys owed me gratitude. It's the opposite. Because you guys give me something to fight for every day. Right in my ballpark with the sweet spot, that's my sweet spot. When I've got somebody to fight for. But what is yours? I want you to figure that out this weekend so you can take that to the masses. Everybody know the state of Texas in the United States? Let me give you an example of how empathy and having an enemy works. The state of Texas is huge, probably not a whole heck of a lot smaller than Australia, right? Maybe half the size of Australia. It's the biggest state in the 48 United States outside of Alaska. I know the U.S. has 50 states. They had a campaign because their roads were a mess with litter, rubbish, trash. Keep Texas clean. The roads didn't improve, they got worse. For 5 years, they focused on this campaign. Signs all over the road, keep Texas clean. Finally, one guy said, we're going the wrong direction here. Nobody messes with Texas. And so they changed the sign to say, don't mess with Texas. Have you ever heard that phrase? Don't mess with Texas. And that was their slogan. They didn't put don't litter. They didn't put keep our highways clean. Don't mess with Texas is all the signs said. And within 5 years, they had a 500% improvement in the cleanliness of the sides of their roads. Somebody saw that sign and we're not going to mess with Texas. You see how that works? They had an enemy all of a sudden. They had something to fight for. Don't mess with Texas. So I want you to dig deep with your empathy. The reason why you're doing this is when you're approaching people, you need to be able to walk in their shoes. Whatever that is for you. I hate debt. So many people, I don't know if it's the same in Australia, but in the United States, so many people live paycheck to paycheck that when something goes wrong with their car, they have to put it on a credit card. Most people buy cars on credit. They mortgage their house, so they have all this consumer debt. And it walks around like a ball and chain. Finances are the #1 cause of stress. Finances in the United States, it's probably similar here, are the #1 cause of divorce. And debt is the #1 problem with finances. I hate debt. I've been $30,000 in debt in my life and got out of it. So I know what it's like. I know the burden of waking up every day and sometimes wishing you weren't alive because there was no hope. And I need somebody to give me a vision and show me how I can get out of it. I hate when parents have to drop their kids off at daycare. What do they call it here? Babysitter?
All that daycare.
You get it. And for some people, that's what they like to do. Like they want to have a career, and that's just their lifestyle. And I'm not going to knock that or say that's wrong. But I've had to look in a child's eyes and turn away and say, I'm not doing this. I'll do whatever it takes. And I did. There were times I worked 4 jobs, started small businesses to make sure none of my kids have ever seen one day in daycare. You know, I went 7 years without having a meal outside of my house, other than somebody else's house, but without actually being able to afford buying a meal or going to a movie. I remember seeing the movie Titanic near my anniversary, and it was the only movie I saw in a theater for over 8 years. And I kind of like movies, at least I did back then. Now I can't sit through them, but it just wasn't important to me. And I would do whatever it took not to take my kids to daycare. So you got to have those pieces in your life. You have it in you. There's something that you just want to get rid of, and I'm going to encourage you to find that. And maybe the hate isn't the right word for you, but there's something you want to eradicate in this world. And people will be attracted to that. All right, let me give you 7. Oh, by the way, I forgot to go through this. Did you all read this? Could you read this? Vision without action is a daydream, but action without vision is a nightmare. This is a Japanese proverb. It's one of my favorite quotes or inspirational sayings ever. Has anybody here ever been in great action without vision and realized that it was just like a hamster wheel? So leaders have vision. They set the tone. Are leaders born or are they developed? Developed. I believe every leader is developed, and everybody in here can lead in some way and build a business of your dreams. But you need to have an unshakable vision. So let me give you 7 things that I've seen from leaders in this industry. People who made great amounts of money and changed so many lives. how they came up with their vision, what their vision contained, and then we're going to get back to the traits that we started with. So the first thing is, when a leader has a vision, it transcends. Transcends. What does transcend mean to you, Stephen? Oh, sorry, I thought you had your hand up. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Transcends, develops, progresses,
Rises above, goes beyond. The leaders I've seen be hugely successful and build great teams of people who are changing the world and changing lives and eradicating debt or whatever they were looking to eradicate, their vision transcends. It wasn't just about them. It wasn't just, I want to go diamond or crown diamond. They had a vision that transcended, that connected with people. So that's the first thing. Leaders, when they have a great vision, it transcends. The second thing is it's empathetic, just like we talked about. It reaches people where they're at and understands where people have been. A vision has to have empathy in it. And you don't have to have some great vision statement. Where I want you to go with your vision is it's got to be unshakable. Right? It's got to be unshakable, because there'll be those days where you're going to be a little shaken. And many of you in this room have probably been there. Right? So it's got to be unshakable. And it's got to be deep. It has to be deep and specific. Otherwise, it's not going to drive you. We all need money, right? We all want to help our family. David did a great exercise yesterday. Who was here in the room for when you closed your eyes and stuck out your arm? And I've seen David do these exercises. Who did the mnemonic exercise with David? I did that exercise, and David actually taught me that. I've taught that to other people now. And if you ever do this with children, watch how quickly someone who's 6 or 7 or 8 years old can do it. It took my 15-year-old son maybe 3 or 4 tries to remember 30 things. We weren't even doing it with my 7-year-old daughter at the time. And she was able to rattle it off just by listening to what we were doing. Because her brain hasn't been, melted away by age, or we've all been by society. But yesterday, David started this exercise, and I was actually writing some notes for the talk I gave yesterday. And sometimes I play along with David, and sometimes I don't. But this time I decided to play along. And I closed my eyes, and taking this trip, I had a little sidebar for myself, a little something I wanted to accomplish personally. And I wanted to get a new why for myself. For why I was doing this, and some side projects I'm doing, some things I'm doing with my family. And I was feeling a little flat. And I just trusted it would happen on this trip. And I was amongst some great people, and the energy was just I'm gonna soak it up and something's gonna happen, and it happened yesterday. And walking through this exercise, I realized that the core of what I love to do is buy things for people. It just makes me so happy to buy things for people. But that doesn't work for me, because that's on the love side. That's loving to win, buying things for people. So I had to flip that. And I hate when there's untapped potential. I hate the word someday. Have you ever seen someday on a calendar? I don't know about your calendar. My calendar doesn't have someday. Right? I hate when people say, my parents, I love them. They're the reason I'm here. But they are king and queen of someday. Someday we're going to take a cruise. Someday we're going to go to Australia. Someday we'll go to Hawaii. Well, you know what? They're in their 60s now, and soon they will be too old to do those things. And it'll be, someday, I wish we had done this, wish we had done that. So I had to flip that around. And I hate that untapped potential. I hate someday. I hate when someone can't get something that they feel they need or they want that will bring them so much joy. And when David talked about reinventing himself, I'm going to try to enjoy winning a little more now. It's one of the things I've committed to. But still, at my core, I hate it when people don't accomplish what they want to, and I want to help people do that. And that is my strongest why. Nature hates a vacuum. What David just talked about pruning your tree. When you create empty space in your life, the universe is going to fill that for you. But if you're crammed, and you're busy, and you're doing busy work, and you haven't taken the time for yourself to create this why, you're full, and the universe can't fill that spot for you. It's chock full. So that was what I came with. And really, I just kind of jotted down some notes before I came up here to talk about this. I think it's so important that every event you go to and every month you look at why you're doing this. Okay, so vision transcends, it's got empathy. Vision capitalizes on your expertise. Who here is an expert in this room? I'm going to be here all day until every hand is up. Everybody in here is an expert at something. I promise. Everybody in here is an expert at something. Vision capitalizes on that expertise. I am an expert at helping other people look good. Maybe you wouldn't call that an expertise, but I do. I embrace it. You know, Manfred and Zavon, I know they are experts at helping people see the power of residual income. Krista is an expert at helping people achieve optimal health. Is there somebody better in the world at helping other people look good than me? Sure, right? I mean, there's people, but I'm not going to compare myself to them. I'm like the dance teacher in Melbourne. Melbourne is a Florida city. Melbourne is an Australian city.
Yeah.
The dance teacher in Melbourne probably can't teach Dancing with the Stars on television. But here, they are an expert. And the more they embrace that expertise, the more people will come to them. So a great vision, a great why, is going to use your expertise. I encourage you, whatever you're an expert at, don't discount it. And I saw, we only had like 10 hands go up when I say, who here is an expert? I didn't say, who here is an expert at network marketing, did I? Who here is an expert at Life Force or the comp plan or earning money or an entrepreneur? No, but you're an expert at something. So take one thing away today, capitalize on your expertise because you are an expert at something. You don't need to be an expert at very many things, especially in this business. But what you're an expert at, be great at it because no one can replace that. No one can be you. Vision never waits. I'm going to wait until we have this tool. I'm going to wait until the next time of year, after the holidays, after the kids are out of school. Vision doesn't wait. Vision takes action now. That's the fourth thing. Fifth, vision focuses on the word can, never cannot. It's one thing I love about great customer service, and I got it on purpose on my flight down. Southwest Airlines has it. We have several great companies in the United States. You probably have a few down here, Qantas and a few others, that they're always focused on can. And there's a lot of things they can't do. I watched them reseat a lady, and never once did they say, we can't do this or we can't do that. Instead, they say, here's what we can do for you. And it was pretty limited, but that's what they were focused on. Leaders and their vision, in my experience in this industry, they focus on what they can do. Because if you focus on what you can't do, what you focus on expands, right? It's just a fact. What you focus on expands. If you focus on what you can't do, you're going to be lost. Number 6, your vision should always have somewhere in the center gratitude. Bless you. Great leaders are always grateful. They're grateful people. And this goes right along with what can you do instead of what can't you do. They're grateful for what they do have. They're grateful for the team they do. They don't look and say, oh gosh, well, Manfred has Cliff. I wish I had a guy like Cliff. Well, you know, wishing doesn't get you very far in this world, right? Leaders do very little wishing. They just take action. They focus on what they can do, and they're grateful for the people they have. I encourage you, if you don't do it already, write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Better yet, write down 3 things you complained about in the last week. I complained about Los Angeles International Airport in a text to a friend. And apply gratitude to a complaint and see how good it feels. I mean, it's a physical feeling to apply gratitude in. Every great leader I've known who's made $350,000 a month, and I've worked with leaders who are making, like David, that are making money that I just, what do you do with a check for $350,000? It's NBA money in the US. Leaders are grateful. And lastly, so The vision transcends. It's empathetic. It's got great empathy. Leaders develop their why or their vision around their expertise. They focus on what they can do. They never wait. They apply gratitude. And the last thing they do, when a leader has a great why or a great vision, it's because they've asked the right questions. You want great answers? Ask great questions. You will work with somebody on your team who is looking for all the answers. And if you feel like you have to have all the answers, you're probably going to fail. All you have to do is ask the right questions. And as humans, we're very curious, right, by nature? It's just how we're born. We're very curious. And if you have lost that curiosity, find it this weekend. Ask somebody a couple questions. One of the greatest things you can do, this is what I love about my mentors. When you're in awe of somebody, let's take a look at Michael and Krista. They make great money. If you're in awe of them, it's one thing to be grateful for them and look up to them. But I would encourage you, instead of being in awe, ask questions. They are obligated to answer them. Their subconscious won't be able to help it. When you ask a question, the subconscious has to answer it. And this is what I love about mentors, is they love to help people by answering questions. Tell me how to build a great business, Michael. That's not a question. What did you do when you wanted to quit, Krista? That's a question. And right away, you'll be able to see something physical in her change. She will respond to that. Leaders respond to great questions that they're obligated to answer. But if you're looking for all just the great answers or tell me what to do. So, have I made a case for a strong why today? If you do nothing else this weekend, know why you're here. Make it unshakable. Know what drives you. Let's go back to the traits that you wrote down. Take a look at them. Now hold up an imaginary mirror and look in that mirror. Or make sure it's on your lap. Now look at those traits in the mirror, because you cannot see those traits in someone else unless you have them. It's impossible. And maybe they're not as strong as you'd like them to be. But if you had any doubt that you're an expert, take a look at that list, because you have those things, and just get better at those things. Really easy. Everything we talked about, integrity. What are some of the other things? Just shout out a couple things you have on your list. One thing you have on your list. Passion, right? Can you be more passionate this weekend? Right? Can you be even more passionate all the time? What was yours, Karen? Enthusiasm. Can you be more enthusiastic?
Loyalty.
Can you be more loyal? Can you be an expert at people love when people are loyal. There's people that are with Life Force because they saw somebody who was so, like, what's so great about Life Force? But man, Zavon just loves it. You guys did a series of meetings last year, I believe, that said, come find out why we're so excited about Life Force, right? That was how you invited people. I work with so many people that are looking for the right answers. And it's just that. It's a choice. Decided to get excited. A couple more. Traits.
Non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental.
Unwavering conviction.
Generous. Consistency.
All of these things. Do you see you have these things already? And I would bet they're not weak. I would bet they're very, very strong. I've done this exercise with these traits for the last probably 10 years with people. And it was always, I'll share a secret with you, it was the leaders in the room that sometimes looked at their list and couldn't believe they had those traits. This is what I learned about leaders in this industry. They put on their pants one leg at a time. They don't have the best ideas, they're not geniuses. They're just willing to go for it. They're unshakable, and they create that vision and that why. And you're all capable of it, right? Everything on that list you're capable of being better at. Have I mentioned anything today that made you say, oh gosh, I can't do that? I haven't asked you to jump between skyscrapers or absorb bullets or anything, right? Everything here is in your power. So really take a look at that list. keep asking yourself the right questions. Do you love to win or do you hate to lose? Figure that out. Okay? Embrace your expertise this weekend. Be more enthusiastic. Be more loyal. Have more gratitude. Everything on that list, embrace it this weekend and just take it up one notch. You don't have to be a superstar with it. You have what it takes to be great. And it's all right here. Okay, so enjoy this weekend. If nothing else, play full out. All right? Everybody leaves this weekend with grass stains on their bum. All right? Thank you.